Teachers have been ordered to go back to work. This is according to Cabinet Secretary of Education, Jacob Kaimenyi.
The government will not dialogue with the people on the street, according to Kaimenyi, and he says that teachers are not open to dialogue.
Now, the legal notice of 16 of 2003 negated the legal notice of 1997, which means in the meantime there will be a recruitment of teachers which will ease the shortage of teachers.
The remarks by the Cabinet Secretary came even as learning in public schools continued to be paralyzed for the second day following a nationwide teachers' strike.
This cartoon, published in one of the local dailies, perhaps sums up the history of the teachers' strike.
Right, and we are staying with the matter of the teachers' strike. It is day 2 and children are at home across the country, no teachers in the classrooms, and I'm now joined by an educationist to just paint a different kind of picture in regards to this particular matter. I'm now joined by Janet Ouko from our City Center studios. Good afternoon, Janet.
Good afternoon to you.
Right, Janet, we're on day 2 of the teachers' strike. From where you sit as an educationist, are their demands valid?
Well, looking at what the teachers have been tabling, yes, they have an issue. They need to be given some audience because the demands are dating back 1997, and it's only fair that the government gives some ear to the teachers and really deliver to them the promise that the same government of Kenya promised to the teachers. But while we are still on it appears that the dialogue is also not forthcoming from either way, and I think it will be very much important, even if from the teachers and from the government, everybody would just soften the stance, because the children of Kenya at this moment are really suffering.
Now, Janet, we've seen a lot of mediation coming from different teams, from the workers' body, trade unions, trying to come together to bridge the teachers and the government. But why is it so hard this time around to have that kind of dialogue that we've seen in the recent past?
I think the unions also are really not helping matters so much, and as well the statements from government have been worrying. When you have the Labour Secretary dismissing the teachers, and you also have the Cabinet Secretary Education also appearing to really have a very hard position there. And I think this may not help matters, because yes, the teachers of this country have been aggrieved. Yes, they've been lied to by the government, as they are saying from time to time, and therefore the issue of even the unions being in a position to trust the government really is not there. So we are looking at a situation where the teachers have come from a situation where they've suffered. The promises have not been delivered on, and therefore really it's actually the situation that the government need now to calm down and listen to the teachers. And as well, the teachers also need to just take in mind the situation and the position we are in at the moment. This is a new government anyway, and also just soften the position, and the two sides really need to speak to one another and welcome the moves by KOTU and other stakeholders to try and solve the situation.
Right, Janet, let me be the devil's advocate a little bit and shift gears. You are aware of a UN report that castigated teachers, saying the services they were offering to students was not commensurate to the kind of demands they're asking. There are reports that some teachers were missing classes with no proper or valid reasons. What do you have to say about that?
Yes, the question of accountability on the side of teachers has been aching for quite a while, with so many stakeholders feeling really that the issue of accountability is not as articulated, especially by the unions, as the unions articulate other issues of pay demands. And especially looking at that report, you're talking about a percentage of 47% of teachers at any one time in public schools, either not in school or in school and not teaching. And therefore, the situation, it weakens the argument of unions that we need more teachers, if especially we have not been able to utilize the teachers we have well. And I think, yes, there is an issue there. And the education sector is aware that the accountability and monitoring framework has been very weak and has contributed more so to all these rules that we are seeing in the sector.
Finally, Janet, before I let you go, teachers have been heard saying they cannot eat dialogue. What would you propose as the way forward in resolving this matter?
Unfortunately, dialogue is the only way, because as we speak, we have a constitution, and the government has a responsibility to safeguard the right to education of any child. And therefore, let the union understand that it is the responsibility of the government to ensure that education is taking place before we start seeing parents and children taking the same government to court for not delivering the right to education. And therefore, the union should understand that the government will do anything to have education moving on.
Right, many thanks. Janet Ouko, who is an educationist, trying to just paint a clearer picture in regards to the matter of the teacher strike that is today on day two. Many thanks, Janet, for joining us on the news desk. But according to Cabinet Secretary Jacob Kaimenyi, the government will not dialogue with the people on the street. Kaimenyi says that the teachers are not open to dialogue. Now, the legal notice 16 of 2003 negated the legal notice of 1997, of which the teachers are using as a basis for your demand. Now, in the meantime, there are reports that there will be a recruitment of teachers to ease the shortage of the teachers currently on strike by Cabinet Secretary, and this came even as learning in public primary schools continued to be paralyzed for the second day following a nationwide teachers strike.
You have read, you have heard, children are not learning in quite a number of schools. And I just want to appeal to all of us, including the press, members of the fourth estate, to appeal to our teachers to go back to class. Why am I saying this? The truth of the matter, and I've said it so many times, what they are raising, their concerns, especially with regard to legal notice 534 of 1997 with regard to salaries, harmonized house allowances and other allowances have been addressed, that I can tell you. And therefore, some of the issues they are raising, and we have said it, some of the allowances are new. We have priorities, and priorities can't have one priority, Jermaine. We have several priorities, all of us as individuals and as a nation. One of them is laptops, for example. The other one is, of course, recruitment of teachers, which we have done. We have set aside 3.9 billion to employ new teachers. That's number one. The other one is laptops. Why laptops as a priority? Because we want to invest in the future of our children. And one way of investing in the future of our children is to make them ICT literate. This is what is happening all over the world. Why we want to be referred to as third world country, fifth? Why? I don't know. Because really, if you want efficiency, effectiveness to be injected into the education system, then we have no choice but to integrate ICT in the education system.